Aloha, everybody. It's Dr. Ezra coming to you from Kauai. We've got a sunset here. Let's see if it can check out the sunset. Well, not the best option for, let's do this way. There, forward-facing camera. There's the selfie view. Here we are. Just wanted to share the beautiful sunset. It's just gorgeous. Got to do it again. Today I'm talking about the number one killer of men and women. Over 50% of men and women die of heart failure. You know, most of those, they call it the silent killer because there's no warning. Most of the time, people just die the first incident and don't get a second chance. Most women don't know that they're part of that statistic. So, yeah. There's actually something else I want to talk about. That the most powerful study I've ever seen was a peer review that was published in Circulation, which is the American Heart Association journal. And only 5% of peer reviews get accepted, that only 5% of them actually hit the bar. They set the standard so high that most of them that get submitted for approval don't make it. They can't pass the test of the peer review test. So this one that I'm talking about passed that test, and it was initiated by the past president of the American Heart Association because he was part of an initial study, another landmark study that wasn't a heart study, but it was a full human in vivo, people taking, a supplement. And the American Heart Association, as far as what I could tell, had never said anything positive about a supplement in all their history. And at the time this happened, back in over 15 years ago, in 2009, they had a search option available from their website where you could have access to all the studies they'd ever published. And everything about supplements was all training doctors how to deal with people that are regular people, bringing information to them about different supplements. And it was all negative, except for this one study. When it first came out in November of 2009, it was the most powerful thing that I've ever seen to prevent heart failure. And they did an animal model because no humans wanted to volunteer for 100% failure the first round when they artificially created high blood pressure on the right ventricle and 100% blew out. Artificial pressure overload. And then with this supplement, 0 blew out under the same artificial pressure overload where 100% failed out without this supplement. 0 failed with this supplement with no negative effects. Yes, that's right. That's been done. That was proven. And again, it was initiated by the past president of the American Heart Association, who got VCU to get the ball rolling on that. It was a study that VCU was involved with, Virginia Commonwealth University, and another university. Peer reviews always involve more than one. Hey, what we're talking about, I have some people that just hopped on. We're talking about, well, the number one killer of men and women, heart failure. Most women don't even know they're part of the statistics. It's over 50% of men and women that have been dying of heart failure for many years. This has been going on. And another thing that is, as far as the most powerful peer review study that I've ever seen on it, it was done in 2009, over 15 years ago, at a time where the American Heart Association, the Circulation, their website, they had a search engine. You could type in any keyword and have access to all the studies they've ever published in history. And when you'd type in supplement, every single time they had an article published on it, it was all training doctors how to deal with people who were bringing information to them about a supplement, and it was all negative against the supplements. So except for this one study, when it first came out, they had that search option available. It didn't last for very long with people like me who were talking about this. This one study is the most powerful positive results we've ever seen to prevent heart failure. And it was a study that ended up preventing 100% where 100% failed without this supplement, artificially creating high blood pressure on the right ventricle till 100% blew out. We've never seen this before, where all of a sudden with a supplement, 0 blew out. And again, with an artificial pressure overload in an animal model, because no humans wanted to volunteer for 100% failure, 100% right ventricles blowing out, and then 0 blowing out with a supplement. And there's all kinds of other markers they were measuring. This was a peer review, more than one university following the same steps, getting the same results. It's a landmark study, in my opinion. There's another landmark study that happened that the past president of the American Heart Association Journal was on the review committee, and that they'd even brought Harvard in. It was a full human study, landmark study, and it showed such amazing results with what it could potentially do for our health, that this is a revolutionary breakthrough that happened, that the past president is the one who initiated, who actually asked VCU to start a heart study on it to see what it could do for that. So revolutionary things happening with a supplement, and I'm not even mentioning the name of it right now. Some of you who follow me a lot may know what it is. Nowadays, there's a 10 times better activator of that than what there even was, what this supplement was doing, what it was turning on. Nowadays, there's a 10 times better one today than there was even back then. 10 years later, there's 10 times more science published on it because of the revolutionary things that we were discovering about it. So, yeah, I'll give you a way to find out more information about that, and you'll have access to the full heart study that I'm talking about. It's really important stuff. You know, the average what they make on heart transplants is $1.6 million that most people's insurance don't even cover. So it's typically only been available for people who could afford to fork out even more money. But yeah, average heart transplant, the average what they make, what it costs is 1.6 million. So when you're talking about bigger facilities that are, you know, like some of them make more than that, some of them may make a little less than that. Anyway, that's just the average. $1.6 million for that procedure. You know, so this is huge. It's a huge moneymaker disease. It's been big business for the ones that have been making the most amount of money. And if you follow the money, like that's the basic rule of journalism, follow the money. See who's been making the most amount of money. They threw another $1 trillion a year to the pharmaceutical industry just to create a jab for COVID, during COVID. It's like, oh, you're making $1 trillion a year here, we can double it. Since anyway, that's I want to get on back to the heart though, on the heart failure thing. I know some things that help improve all kinds of different parts of the body, and it's not just one thing. Like, it's not just the supplement that I think people need. You know, that one is one that I take every day, one that I won't go without, at least the 10 times better one, especially. But that's what I take today. But I'm on the key for the hormones, the key for the microbes. That wipes out a need for antibiotics in my book. I had a brown recluse spider bite on the Big Island of Hawaii. Right now I'm in Kauai. Here's the sunset view. I might show you that again from the main camera here. Show you what I'm looking at here, my view, while you're looking at me. That's what I'm seeing. So yeah, I had a nasty brown recluse. Is the most dangerous, most poisonous, deadly spider on the planet. Bit me, and everything with the reaction that I had said go to the hospital, and the first thing they're going to do is antibiotics. I could check off that whole category just by taking another thing that's a master key for that whole category. Different branches have keys, and so most people, what they're using is just solving one little part of that branch. They don't actually even do anything to tap the whole branch in that category of health. a complex system. There's different keys for different branches. Most of you listening to this might be like, oh, you're talking too much stuff already, because you're trained to think that you could solve a problem just by finding the one thing, that there's one thing that solves everything. But life doesn't work that way. We're much more complex. And everything we think, say, and do has an impact. And we're all meant to really get it all right. And what it did come down to for the master that people call Jesus, and some people call him by lots of different names, but he said when they were asking him to put it in simplicity, because what he was saying, his own disciples said, if we could write everything he taught us, there'd be enough books to fill the whole earth. And people think they got it with the Bible, but within the Bible, they did put his summary of what it boils down to. He said, yeah, love God, love your neighbor. All these other laws hinge off of that. And people think they got it just with love God, love your neighbor. They neglect what he said right after that. That all the laws and all of our other systems of life hinge off of that. And every other system of our lives and everything that we do in a positive way, it's all tied to the life process of ourselves and helping turn the life processes on. And everything that we choose positive also helps us integrate and understand better the principles that are involved with that. We get to retain more of the truth of that. So when he said, I'm the truth and the life, literally integrating truth is also inseparably connected to the life process of ourselves. And so I have another thing that I'm going to say, that we're a bunch of immortals who somehow forgot who we were. Because our minds and bodies, our hardware is perfect. What somehow got corrupted is the software, what I've been able to tell mostly, our knowledge, our understanding of how this great computer machine, and they haven't invented a computer that works as good as our own mind and body. And even if you have a perfect computer, you put the wrong software in it, do you get the right results or the wrong results? So that's what I'm coming back to. We have the best hardware, better than any computer ever invented. We're basically the immortals that we've been looking for. And my version of immortality, it doesn't mean that we can't be killed stepping in front of a moving truck or whatever, because that's another misconception about immortality. So we just forgot. We lost the understanding. And it's time to unlearn some of the nonsense that we've been taught and relearn the truth. So, hey, I'm going to say hi to a few of you that are here. Somebody said a question with Viagra question mark. No, I'm the key to the hormones. Actually, for those of you who are men, it solves that problem. You get the key for HGH. That's the main regenerative hormone according to Harvard. And that also gets your vascular factors. It produces the chemistry that keeps your heart and your vessels pliable and young. When you really activate the key for the hormones, that's a different key. But for the DNA that I was talking about, I recommend checking out a bunch of science presentations by the last Elliott Cresson Gold Medal recipient. He has also been nominated for Nobel Prizes, but the Elliott Cresson Medal is more prestigious. It came out 50 years before the Nobel Assembly was formed. His name is Dr. Joe McCord, but go check out highspeedrelief.com. And if you do a search around, you'll find another link to the /wise from that website, highspeedrelief.com. Again, highspeedrelief.com /WISE. Wise is Dr. McCord archive his presentations on the first generation product that he created. Then there's another presentation I give with a bit more detail on the new things that he discovered. I do a summary of what he presented before, and then there's new things that he's been giving us. He just hasn't given any public presentations since. I think he had his life threatened or something. So with that, but then if you know the key for the hormones, check out join.b3sciences.com, and you'll learn what the KC Chiefs have been using to win 2 Super Bowls in a row with less injuries. And that same thing, what it does for men in solving any of those types of issues, that someone was just mentioning. They just brought up Viagra. This is healthier, way better. When you get all your regeneration hormones being produced like they were when we were younger, certain problems for men just disappear. And especially something that you notice in the middle of the night on a regular basis, probably stronger than you ever have. Well, anyway, that's more of an adult conversation. I already checked the box that this conversation is not for kids. So anyway, yeah, so check out join.b3sciences.com, or the simpler one, join.prob3.com. That's a simpler one. The top drop-down menu has a category for health issues and all about different, different categories. You can go study it up. There's a ton of science that's been done on that as well. More and more. It started in Japan 70 years ago, 40 years ago. They published what it does for diabetes. Go check it out. Because there's hormones that regenerate every different tissue type in the body. It's not just about getting a stronger HGH release. But all right, I've got to run. That's my timer. Just went off. So till next time. All righty, you guys. Go ahead and sign out.